Okay, so like 6 months ago, I saw this next performer at an open mic, and it was her first time doing it. You know what I mean? Okay, it was her first time doing comedy, and you know, she was pretty good and stuff, so I gave her some advice, like, yeah, you know, you just gotta put in your time, it takes a long time, I've been doing it a couple of years, and every once in a while I get a laugh. You know, like I told her what was up. Told her about the misogyny and stuff. But then she went and, okay, Liz.
I don't think Santa's the right people. He's still in your stuff.
Santa is?
I already ate a cupcake. I'm back.
Alright, okay. So, we know you'd rather be at the 70s porn bar right now.
Yeah.
But I need to tell you about our next comedian.
Exactly.
Okay. So anyway, I gave her some advice about, you know, how hard it was going to be. And then she went and she was like funny, brilliant, started doing sets all over the Bay Area, performed at the Punchline. I've never performed at the Punchline. I had to beg Martin to do this show so I could get up on stage at the same stage as this woman who started 6 months ago. So thank you so much for coming. Our headliner tonight, I want to introduce the very lovely and talented Samantha Gilway.
What's up, guys? Hey! Put it together for Leela and Steven for this awesome show. All amazing comedians that just come up, right? It's a good crowd, so you're allowed to have jokes, right? Woo! All right, so let's kick this off, right? My mom just got out of the hospital. And, you know people who, like, give medical advice and they have, like, no business giving medical advice to people? Like, my mom has had, like, orthopedic problems. She's had like 12 different surgeries. And you will not believe the number of people who come up to her and are like, but have you tried yoga? It's like, yeah, she tried yoga and it didn't work, you know? But you know what bothers me the most about the have you tried yoga people is that when they get sick, when something happens to them, they're the biggest pussies out of anybody, right? It's just like, oh, hey, Cindy, you want to go do yoga? Oh my God, I totally would, but I'm in so much pain right now. I was barefoot hiking with Bodhi in honor of the solstice, and I like stepped on this non-native invasive thistle, and I totally fucked up my foot and my root chakra. Oh, Cindy, have you tried yoga? So I'm single. Anybody single here? Anybody like, come on, get today? All right, stand up. I'm dating again. There's still rules for dating, by the way. I didn't know that there were going to be rules getting back into this 2014 dating scene. But apparently you men will still judge us if we fuck you on a first date. This is a thing. A guy told me, he was like, I just don't look at a girl the same way if she sleeps with me on a first date. And I just want to know, when do you start judging us? Is it while you're fucking us? Like, oh, this chick makes terrible life decisions. Also, I can't ask you guys out on a first date still. This day and age, I still can't do that. I told a friend, I was like, I met this guy, he's really cute, he's funny, he's smart, I'm gonna ask him out. She's horrified. She's like, fuck no, you can't do that. I was like, why can't I do that? She was like, you have to let him be the hunter. I guess I just forgot how to be willing prey. I'm sorry, I don't know. I mean, you guys make it so easy with using cunning phrases to trap us like, hey, I really like your sweater. Do you want to see pictures of me snowboarding? Hold up. There's like wicked powder that day. There's like wicked, hold up. I just say that, like, you guys don't put a lot of effort into this shit, by the way. Can I just say that right now? Hoodie sweatshirts are not a legitimate item of clothing, okay? Men, you used to look like Don Draper. Now I'm surrounded by assholes waiting to exercise, alright? The worst is having a boyfriend, like I had an ex who wanted to go hoodie shopping all the time. He'd be like, hey babe, can you come with me so we can pick out a few hoodies? And I'd be like, yeah. Can we wait 5 minutes and see if you grow up first? No, okay, no, let's go pick you out that towel with armholes in it. Let's do that, okay? So I'm single. And I think the reason I'm a single mom, and I have a really young kid. And like my daughter is not even 2 yet. And whenever you meet a single mom with like a really young kid, there's a dramatic story there, It's never like, oh, Jim wouldn't watch Downton Abbey with me, so I said, fuck him, and took a baby and ran. And with me, it was no different. My ex left me for another woman 5 weeks after having his baby. Well, he gave it 5 weeks, Fine. So, when he left, I was like fat and hormonal. I was depressed. I was emotionally unstable. So it was the perfect time to get back out there, so I got right back out there, and I did. Do you know how hard it is to date while lactating, by the way? It's fucking difficult, that's right. It's kind of a lose-lose situation for everybody. Because he's probably not into it. Or worse. Right? Yeah, this whole online dating thing, that's hard, because I try to get on Tinder or whatever. I'm not going to name drop the dating sites, but whatever. I don't post right away that I'm a parent, but I let them know in the first conversation, I was talking to this guy, and it seemed to be going well, so I decided I should stop that and let him know that, drop the baby bomb on him. And his reaction, well, let me just tell you exactly what he said. He said, oh, that's too bad. I'm so sorry. Right? I guess it was a deal breaker for him. But then again, dating complete fucking assholes is a deal breaker for me, so it worked out, right? It worked out. It's so hard because there's just no gray area with online dating. Either my vagina is just completely tainted, or guys that are 22 named Chad want to be my baby daddy, It's like, oh yeah, tell me about fatherhood, Chad, because all I know about you is that you love Metallica and have 2 nipples, so please, enlighten me. Enlighten me about your thoughts on parenthood. And also these men are just so condescending to women, especially single moms on these sites. They just assume I'm this weak, vulnerable, wounded little bird that doesn't know how to love. They have the audacity to think that I need help fixing shit around my house and help lifting heavy things. They have the balls to think I just spend my free time masturbating to paperback romances and eating fat-free yogurt and flirting with a UPS guy. Well, you want to know what pisses me off the most is that they're fucking right. Yeah, I think I'm done. I'm done with dating. Because I'm also just sick of explaining myself. I don't like having to keep telling my life story. I don't like saying what I have to I do for a living. And you can see why marrying your cousin was an appealing option back in the day, right? Because they know you. You already know your shit. You could be like, hey. If my Aunt Jenny drinks too much at the dinner table, she might expose herself. They'd be like, oh, no, it's cool. Aunt Jenny is my mom, right? So, I'm not dating, but I'm having meaningless sex with people. Woo! Meaningless sex with people? Come on, a little bit that's how I feel about it. Have you guys ever had sex with somebody that was really, really hot and then have the sex being terrible? Yeah, this happened to me. This guy, he had abs. He had abs and the line things here. He was so gorgeous. While he was undressing, I could feel my inner dumpy 16-year-old trying to high-five me through my vagina. Just yeah! And I was like, fuck that. And then it was terrible. It was so disappointing. It was being presented with the world's sexiest pinata and then breaking it open and having there just be bad sex inside. That's what it was like. Because bad sex, at least to me, bad sex is sex. I mean, maybe for women, because at least when you're not having sex, you can imagine having good sex, right? But after bad sex, you kind of just reevaluate your life choices. How was that for you? I think I need to go to India for a little while. I think I need to find myself. But I grew up comfortable, which is the white guilt way of saying I had money growing up. But my parents were insane, so it wasn't really that comfortable. Because if you're rich and crazy, money just buys you more crazy, right? Because if you're poor and crazy, you kind of just shout at people a lot. Because that's what you have to work with. But if you're rich and crazy, you can accessorize. You know? Like for example, if you're rich and crazy, you can buy the family dog a bunch of extra large deluxe dildos as chew toys. Which is something my father thought was hilarious. It made for very awkward playdates as a child. You can also afford, if you're rich and crazy, you can also afford to turn one of the spare rooms in your house into an indoor marijuana grow room. And then tell your daughter that you're farming tomato plants in there. Your daughter can then go to school the next day and announce to the whole class that your dad has become an indoor tomato plant farmer, and you expect a nice bumper crop at the next show and tell. If you're rich and crazy, you can also afford to move your family to bumfuck North Carolina to live out your fantasies of being a Civil War reenactor. You can also afford to buy your daughter a hoop dress so she can serve lemonade to the Union troops in character. You can also afford to buy antique Civil War memorabilia for Christmas instead of the roller skates she so desperately wanted. Oh, honey, what did Santa get you? More replica Confederate money? You've been a good girl this year. Yes, you have. So, my dad, he was a Civil War reenactor. And I think he was a Civil War reenactor because he never went to Vietnam. He had like a back issue and couldn't go. But a bunch of his friends did, and some of them died. So he decided to honor their memory by dressing up like a dead guy from 150 years ago and flopping in a field whenever gunshots were fired. That's how he decided to honor that. He was a champion flopper too. I want you to know that my dad was the best, okay? Like, he was so much better than all these Frenchmen in the World Cup. Like, he could flop like nobody's business. But I think, like, Civil War reenacting only, reenacting wars is just a weird thing, right? Like, I think it kind of only works for the old wars. Like, the new war, like, they're not reenacting the newer wars, right? Like, there's not, like, a bunch of, like, middle-aged men meeting out in the Arizona desert, reenacting the Battle of Fallujah, right? Like, okay, so, Tim, when Enrique shouts Allah Akbar really loud, I want you to freak the fuck out and accidentally shoot Bobby, okay? Can you do that? I studied history in school, so I'm glad I'm using my degree right now, so that's good. And I thought about becoming a teacher, because I thought I wanted to teach middle school. But then I realized that's a horrible fucking job. Like, amazingly, it makes more money than this, but, it's a horrible. Can you imagine being trapped in, like, a poorly ventilated room with 30 sweaty, angsty, horny 13-year-olds? I'd, like, go home and just wipe the grease and hormones off my body. I was like, ugh. But, like, and people are like, but Sam, those are middle schoolers. We all know middle schoolers suck. What about the little ones? Didn't you teach the cute little ones? Didn't you learn the alphabet and, like, play Play-Doh and identify farm animals with the cute little ones? Fuck the little ones, okay? You wanna know why? When they weren't busy seizuring or needing to go to the bathroom, they almost stabbed themselves with scissors all the time. It wasn't teaching, it was suicide watch. That's what that was. I mean, at least with the older ones, you can have a grown-up conversation, right? Like, they had important questions to ask. Like, why aren't you married? Do you really get paid for this? I think we talk down to kids, and that's a problem. Because we all have. I know it's been a while since some of us have been children. Not Christopher Nansen, but the rest of us. It's been a while. But I think we all have have this memory of, your parents' friends coming over, and, and then they would talk to your parents totally normally, and then they turn to you and talk to you like you're some marshmallow peep that just achieved consciousness, It's like, oh, hey, what's your thoughts on the Power Rangers? It's like, oh, Sylvia, I have no opinion on the Power Rangers, actually, but, what are your thoughts on monogamy? Because your husband's totally eye-fucking my mom right now. Oh man, how are we doing tonight, guys? You're good? Everybody's good? Excited? Oh man, well, this has been fun. I've enjoyed this. This is good. I feel like, it's hard because, I have a kid, like I said before, and being a single parent means that you have to do everything yourself. Like, my daughter had this really bad rash the other day, so I had to call the advice nurse. And, I didn't know that I was going to get an amazing Southern woman on the other line, but I did. And it was amazing because she gave me this, whole project to do. And she was just like, now what you want to do is I want you to get yourself a little Boudreaux's butt paste, and I want you to get yourself a little Mylanta and mix that together and put it all over your baby's rash. Should be gone in 20 minutes. It's like, wow, I think she could tell me to do anything to my kid in that voice. And I'd probably do it, now what you want to do is take your baby by the foot. It can be the left foot or the right foot, but I want you to take your baby, I want you to shake your baby. I want you to just shake that rash, clean off that baby, and then what I want you to do is get yourself a little barbecue sauce. Can you get yourself a nice vinegar-based barbecue sauce and put that all over your baby's rash. Preheat an oven to 350 degrees.